I felt broken every month. Until I saw this differently, a fertility story that will change you. There is a kind of pain that repeats itself so quietly that no one notices it, a pain that doesn't come all at once but returns again and again, month after month, like a wave that never stops reaching the shore. And on a quiet morning just before the sun fully rose, as soft light slowly filled the room, Melissa sat on the edge of her bed holding something so small, yet so heavy with meaning, a pregnancy test that carried the answer she had come to expect. And as she stared at it, her chest tightened, her breath slowed, and without even needing to look closely, she already knew, because her body had told her the same story for nearly 3 years. A story of hope followed by silence, of waiting followed by disappointment. And as the single line appeared once again, clear and unchanged, she closed her eyes and whispered softly, "Why does this keep happening to me?" Melissa had never imagined that trying to get pregnant would feel like this. She had always believed it would be simple, natural, something that would happen when the time felt right, something that didn't require so much effort, so much thought, so much emotional energy. But as time passed and nothing changed, that belief slowly faded, replaced by questions she didn't have answers to, questions that followed her into her days and stayed with her through her nights, questions that made her doubt not just the process, but herself. At first, she stayed hopeful. She told herself it was normal, that it would take time, that next month would be different. But as months turned into years, that hope became harder to hold on to, because every cycle began to feel the same anticipation, the same careful attention, the same quiet excitement that built slowly and then disappeared just as quickly, leaving behind a feeling she couldn't fully explain, a feeling that wasn't just disappointment, but something deeper, something heavier, something that felt like loss. And the hardest part was that no one really saw it. No one saw the morning she woke up with hope only to have it taken away. No one saw the nights she lay awake wondering what she was doing wrong. No one saw the way her heart dropped every time she saw a pregnancy announcement, not because she wasn't happy for others, but because it reminded her of what she was still waiting for. And so she carried it quietly, behind smiles, behind conversations, behind the simple words, "I'm okay," even when she wasn't. She did everything she believed she should do. She followed advice, made changes, stayed consistent. She tracked her cycle, paid attention to every detail, tried to do everything right, but nothing seemed to change. And slowly, without even realizing it, she began to see her body differently, not as something that supported her, but as something that was failing her, something that wasn't responding the way it was supposed to. And that belief, quiet as it was, began to affect everything. Every month became more than just a cycle. It became a test, a measure of whether she was doing enough, whether she was getting closer, whether something had finally worked. And when the answer was no, it didn't just feel like disappointment, it felt like failure. And that feeling began to build over time, layer by layer, until one morning, sitting on her bed, holding another negative test, she said something out loud that she had only thought before, "I feel broken." That moment was quiet, but it was powerful, because it was honest. And in that honesty, something began to shift, not outside, not immediately, but inside her. And for the first time, instead of asking, "What is wrong with me?" she asked a different question, "What if I'm not broken?" That question felt strange at first, almost uncomfortable, because she had spent so much time believing the opposite, but she couldn't ignore it. And slowly, she began to explore it, not with pressure, not with urgency, but with curiosity. And that curiosity led her to something she hadn't considered before, that maybe her body wasn't failing her, maybe it was responding to something she hadn't fully understood yet. She started paying attention, not just to what she was doing, but to how she was feeling. And what she noticed surprised her. She was constantly tense, constantly thinking, constantly carrying a level of stress she hadn't fully acknowledged. Even in moments where she appeared calm, her mind was busy, her body was tight, her thoughts were racing, and that awareness changed something for her. Instead of pushing harder, she began to soften. She created moments of quiet, moments where she wasn't thinking about fertility, wasn't planning, wasn't trying to figure everything out, just moments where she allowed herself to be. And at first, it felt difficult, because she was so used to doing something, to trying, to moving forward. But slowly, those moments became something she needed, something that gave her a sense of peace she hadn't felt in a long time. She also began to change how she spoke to herself, replacing the word broken with something gentler, something more understanding. She started saying, "My body is doing its best," instead of "my body is failing me," and that shift, small as it seemed, began to change how she felt, because the way we speak to ourselves matters more than we often realize. She took care of herself differently, not out of pressure, but out of respect. She nourished her body, rested when she needed to, moved gently, and allowed herself to feel her emotions instead of pushing them away. And over time, she began to feel something she hadn't felt in a long time, not just hope, but peace, a quiet, steady peace that didn't depend on results, but on how she was living each day. Weeks passed, then months, and while nothing had changed on the outside yet, everything inside her was different. She felt lighter, calmer, more connected. She wasn't living in constant disappointment anymore. She was present, she was grounded. She had found a way to carry her journey without letting it consume her. And then one morning, quietly, without expectation, something shifted. She noticed her period hadn't come, and for a moment, she paused, not with fear, not with urgency, but with a calm awareness. She gave herself time, allowed herself to sit with the moment, and after a few days, she took a test, her hands steady, her breath slow, and as she looked at the result, her heart seemed to stop, because this time, the answer was different. This time, there were 2 lines, clear and undeniable, and in that moment, everything she had carried for years seemed to come together, and she cried, not just because she was pregnant, but because she finally understood something she hadn't understood before. She was never broken. She was overwhelmed. She was carrying more than she realized. And once she began to care for herself differently, something inside her shifted. Melissa's story is not about a quick solution or a simple answer. It is about a deeper truth, a reminder that sometimes, the way we see ourselves can shape how we experience our journey, and that changing that perspective can create a shift that goes beyond what we expect. If you are on this journey, if you have ever felt broken, if you have ever questioned yourself, please hear this. You are not broken, your body is not your enemy, and your story is not over, even if it feels like it has been a long time, even if it feels like nothing is changing. Sometimes, the shift begins within. So take a moment, not to give up, but to be gentle with yourself, to care for yourself, to remind yourself that you are more than this journey. And if this story touched your heart, take a moment to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you don't miss more real and supportive fertility content, and share your thoughts in the comments, because your story matters, your voice matters, and you are not alone. And always remember, you are not broken. You are becoming. And your story is still being written.